Shilajit is being talked about a lot right now, marketed as a natural testosterone booster that may also improve cognition, sexual function, and vitality. But does it actually work? Today I'm breaking down what Shilajit is, what the scientific research actually reveals about its effects on the body, and whether or not it's worth taking for most men. I'm also going to be covering how safe it is, ideal dosage, and my personal experience from taking it for several months. I spent a ton of time digging through all of the literature, and I think you're going to find some of my discoveries surprising. I have not heard anyone else talk about some of the things I'm going to share. So what is Shilajit? Shilajit is a complex mineral resin from mountain rocks usually found in the Himalayas. It's primarily humic/fulvic acids with dozens of minerals and some amino acids, all thought to be beneficial for several functions in the body. It's got things like iron, magnesium, calcium, selenium, and more. It's been used for centuries in traditional medicine systems in India, and it's believed to boost strength, immunity, and overall vigor. Modern science is only beginning to test these claims. Let's dive into that a bit. Here are the potential benefits. In one double-blind randomized controlled trial, men age 45 to 55 taking purified Shilajit of 250 milligrams twice a day for 90 days had significant increases in total and free testosterone. They experienced about a 20% rise compared to placebo. A lot of people love to bring up this study, but there is some nuance that changes the equation a bit, and we're going to get into that in a second. Another trial with infertile men taking 100 milligrams twice a day for 90 days also raised serum T by 23.5%. There was also a 2024 systematic review of T boosters that classified a standardized Shilajit extract as possibly effective in raising testosterone in late onset hypergonadal men. While most supplements showed no impact, Shilajit stood out in limited contexts. There may also be some potential male fertility benefits. A clinical trial in oligospermic men gave Shilajit of 100 milligrams twice daily for 90 days. The results showed major semen improvements. Total sperm count rose 61.4%, sperm motility rose 12 to 17%, and normal morphology rose 18.9%. All statistically significant. Seminal oxidative stress also fell by 18.7%, and so this study does suggest that Shilajit can improve sperm quality in infertile men. But again, there's some nuance we're going to need to get into there. The next potential benefit is physical performance. A randomized controlled trial tested 8 weeks of Shilajit at 500 milligrams a day in healthy young men under a fatiguing exercise protocol. Compared to placebo, the high dose group maintained greater muscle strength, smaller decline in maximal voluntary force, and had reduced collagen breakdown. And then there's claims of antioxidant and anti-aging benefits. Shilajit is rich in fulvic acid and humic substances, giving it antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. While lab studies confirm antioxidant effects, human data on anti-aging outcomes, e.g. longevity and skin health, are not robust. And finally, there are some rodent studies suggesting Shilajit improves cognition. But the more I refine my researching skills, the less I tend to value these studies, at least for day-to-day application. Humans and rodents are just not the same. So until we have human studies on these effects, I personally wouldn't pay much mind to them. Now for some caveats and nuance. Despite the studies that we just went over, evidence is still very sparse. Experts note the data is limited. One review found Shilajit lacks scientific evaluation with no substantial evidence that it has a biological effect in the body. And then I think very importantly, a Guardian fact check warns the key testosterone study that we discussed had a high risk of bias, aka industry funding. A firm that manufactures Shilajit seems to have provided funding for that study as well as the study on physical performance. There are no large independent studies that have confirmed these benefits. And I also noticed a lack of funding transparency with the fertility study, which is to say we just don't know where the funding came from. Maybe there is bias with these studies, maybe there isn't. We just don't know. So with that potential upside in mind, let's discuss safety and dosage. Starting with general tolerance, clinical studies up to 90 days at 250 to 500 milligrams a day report Shilajit is relatively safe when taken as directed. In trials, subjects reported few adverse effects. That said, some were reported, including mild gastrointestinal upset, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, headache, or dizziness. No serious organ toxicity has been observed at typical supplement doses. There is, however, a noteworthy contamination risk. Raw Shilajit can contain heavy metals, lead, arsenic, mercury, etc. Analyses of market samples found some supplements exceed safety limits. For that reason, it's advisable to use purified, third-party lab-tested Shilajit to avoid toxicity. Now, let's discuss dosage. While no official dosage guidelines exist, the FDA does not regulate Shilajit. Human trials typically use 2 to 500 milligrams per day. For example, 250 milligrams twice daily or 500 500 milligrams once daily have been studied. I will add one warning here, which is that because Shilajit contains iron, caution is advised if you have iron overload or hemochromatosis. Ultimately, always consult with a doctor before use. Here's my personal experience with Shilajit. I've been taking it on and off for the past several months. Before studying for this video, I just heard about the 20% increase and found a third-party lab tested version and decided to give it a try. As someone who already eats a primarily whole food diet, trains consistently, sleeps well, gets sunlight, and takes other key supplements, I didn't notice a whole lot of change. I already have a solid testosterone level, higher than about 95% of young healthy men. This did not put me into some ethereal superhuman state. Initially, I experienced an increase in libido, but after a few days, that subsided. That said, I had no noticeable adverse effects, and I find the potential upside to be intriguing. And so my final verdict is Shilajit is possibly good if you want to stack as many pro-sexual function / testosterone things as possible. It seems relatively safe as long as you buy a genuine, pure, tested form of it. It is known that the minerals inside of it are generally beneficial to the body, and so that's why I'm still currently taking it. I would not suggest this to shortcut seekers expecting TRT level results from black goo. You'll see much bigger effects from first optimizing your sleep, nutrition, and training. I generally recommend starting with those. If you're already doing that and you're still aiming to increase your T more, this could be something to consider. Hopefully more research is done in the future so that we can come to a stronger conclusion.